On this edition of the Sports Lounge, we're going to start with the World Series. For once baseball we go. They started on Wednesday, the 7-game series between one team you kind of expected with the Texas Rangers and one team that nobody expected, the St. Louis Cardinals. I turn to Drew Alman now. Where do you stand on matching these two teams up?
It's an odd matchup. I think before the playoffs started, I kind of looked at a lot of teams, minus maybe one, minus maybe two, and said this team's capable of going to the World Series. And St. Louis and Texas, it's just been all about slugging it for both teams. Kriens, you'll know why I'm grinning when you see Marcus Traxler. Kriens for Texas had an unbelievable NLCS. Texas coming in hot, but St. Louis conversely also coming in scorching hot, and not because of their pitching exactly, but with Pujols having a Pujolsian type playoff, and then they're getting good pitching at the end of the bullpen there with Jason Mott. They're both kind of playing very similar right now. I think it's advantage Cardinals. I think they're just riding a little bit of a surge, kind of akin to what they did in 2006. So I kind of like the Cardinals in this series. Do I expect the slugging type matchup, or the slugging that's been going on in the LCS and NLCS? Maybe not to the extent, but I like St. Louis to round up a lot of runs in this series.
I think the Rangers is going to win it.
There we go.
Yeah, this is tough with the microphone right there. I love it, but it's tough to stay focused. I like the Rangers offense, Josh Hamilton, and all the big sluggers they have. I mean, obviously the Cardinals can do it too, but they were in the World Series last year. They lost. You know, if we want to go sixth grade style, I'll say they're hungrier and they want payback for
Are they
not
hungry
winning.
or are they starving?
We'll go with just hungry. Okay. If they were starving, it could affect their performance, and they might not play. Now they're just hungry. And if I remember right, I think Josh Hamilton struggled in the World Series some last year, and I think he will bring his A game this year.
I would say that a lot of the
to the microphone, Marcus.
Cardinals' success can be quantitated by David Freese being the NLCS MVP, and I think they're getting a balanced effort. David Freese was the okay. Drew was looking at me kind of like I was wrong.
Anyway, Freese and Kriens.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a slugging series.
You're nondescript player.
I think it's going to be you're nondescript player. I think it's going to be a slugging series. I really do, and I think not real sure who. I think it's a 7-game series, and give the edge to St. Louis.
I think who scores more runs by the time the 7th inning rolls around, because I think both these teams have had quality bullpen work. Texas with Feliz, Alexei Ogando, Darren Oliver at like 67 years old, and then conversely St. Louis with Mott to close things out, and they've gotten other contributions from there as well. It's a matter of who's going to shred the starting pitching more. I also happen to think, though, that St. Louis has a little bit of starting pitching. I think Chris Carpenter has an edge over C.J. Wilson tonight. It's kind of why I think St. Louis is going to win tonight with that starting pitching matchup. So it's tough. Is it a 7-inning game, and then the next 2 innings, run's going to be tough to come by, for sure. I mean, it seems that way every postseason. It seems more pronounced to me this year than before.
Everybody says pitching and defense wins in the playoffs in pretty much any sport. And you look at the Final Four teams, and neither team could pitch at all, especially the starters. And how surprising is that to you?
It's surprising, isn't it? It seems like recently there's been an emphasis on outstanding starting pitching. San Francisco won the World Series last year based on their pitching and some occasional clutch hitting. I guess it's there are no absolutes to winning a World Series. Yeah, you have to do a little bit of everything well. Milwaukee couldn't field the ball. That came back to haunt them. But the starting pitching foibles that have gone on with Texas and St. Louis haven't really come back to bite them too much, just because they've been so hot at the plate.
What do you think, Bob Barker?
I would agree that it was kind of interesting to see the defense not be a big emphasis in those games, and I think that defense will probably play heavily into the. Because we're in the middle of October now, maybe the run production does decrease despite the ability of both offenses to this point. I don't know. I think I expect a lot of runs, but part of me thinks that there's going to have to be 1 or 2 low-scoring games in the series at some point.
I mean, you'd think so. I mean, to me, it's strange just because it's almost universal across sports that, I mean, you don't need to have the best defense in the league or, you know, in college and all of collegiate sports to win everything. But more often than not, the teams that win usually are pretty good defensively that win titles. And apparently, you know, sometimes trends get bucked, and I guess this is a year for that this year.
The Cardinals have the home field despite having a worse record due to the All-Star game, and 20 of the last 25 winners of the World Series have had the home field. And if it was the way it should be, Texas should probably have the home field based on a better record, but a simple thing like that obviously is not that simple.
And C.J. Wilson gave up a home run in the All-Star game to Prince Fielder.
And guess who gets to pitch game 1?
Yep.
It's crazy how it all comes around.
Yeah.
You want to make it matter.
What goes around comes around.
That All-Star game.
There we go.
It matters, apparently. It does.
Pretty poor.
It does, but it shouldn't. But that's another debate for another day, I think.
It does, but it shouldn't.
And we have more time.
Official picks now for the World Series.
Cardinals in 6.
Cardinals in 7.
I will say the Rangers in 6.
The Rangers in 5.
Ooh.
Look at that. You think Kriens is going to
Sure.
keep it going? 6 bombs already.
I saw a national website that's well known. 25 people picked. 4 picked the Cardinals.
Are you serious?
Dead.
Wow.
Serious.
Did they not see the Cardinals bats in that Milwaukee Brewers series? I don't know.
I don't know if they saw any of the playoffs to this point because of the football that people
seem to like better than the World Series, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
People love it.
People do. Wait.
Oh.
It's that time of year where everybody writes a story where the Yankees weren't in the ALCS, so the ratings suck.
Yeah,
Speaking of that, how will the
true.
ratings be? I don't expect much from the ratings.
They'll be bad.
Well, the thing is,
Because when Texas was in it last year, they were not good, and when the Cardinals were in it against Detroit in 06, they were not good as well.
and I think, you know, MLB adversaries or whatever could say, well, it's not New York, it's not, you know, the Chicago Cubs, Boston Red Sox. Well, I don't know if you know, it's the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Really
a lot of people seem to be in that area, seem to live there. St. Louis seems to have a pretty good fan base nationally as well. Not going to buy that excuse where, oh, well, it wasn't the right teams. I kind of disagree with that. And that's sort of counterproductive thinking that just isn't going to help you figure out a way to, you know, get more people watching these games.
You're going to be wrong because time has kind of proven out that if it's not a massive market like New York or Philadelphia, and if it's got to be 2 markets, people just do not care. This series could be, all 7 games could be gripping to the end, and the ratings aren't going to be that great because it's just the nature that Major League Baseball is kind of going through right now.
I don't think they'll be great ratings. I think they'll be a lot better than they were last year, though. I think it'll be better than, you know, your typical not big market teams. But, you know, like it said, Dallas really isn't a small market. But, you've got big name offensive players playing, and theoretically it should be high scoring, entertaining game. So I think the ratings will be decent, but, you know, not like they used to be, though.
Coming up next here on the Sports Lounge, we'll preview the North Dakota State, South Dakota State decoder marker matchup here in Brookings. 2 p.m. on Saturday coming up next.
And we'll play some Plinko.
Absolutely. Come on down, North Dakota State to Brookings, South Dakota. We are playing for the Dakota marker this Saturday between SDSU and North Dakota State.
But before you come down, have your pets spayed and neutered, please. You know, have somebody babysit your dog for the day, please. It's all I ask. It's all Marcus asks.
And the loser of this game gets a blender.
Ooh.
And also get sexual harassment charges for harassing Barker's beauties.
You mean they don't get one of those, like, geo trackers? Those look like the funnest little cars.
That's the winner, but that would be against NCAA rules.
It's like a roller skate with an engine.
Because this is
A gift
this is like a bowl game, and the blender is under $500.
I see.
Loser gets the blender, winner gets the large,
big rock.
like 80-pound rock.
The big rock.
Big rock.
Big rock.
Okay.
Sorry, we kind of sabotaged the intro there, but
Sorry,
back to
you
it.
had a good set. You had a good
I
open.
didn't. No, I didn't.
It was a good open. Come on down.
Okay, come on
planned
down. Da, 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 da. North Dakota marker. Da, 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 da. They have a great defense to North Dakota State, the #1 defense in all the land. Northern Iowa, they were one of the tops in FCS, giving up a shade around 14 a game, which it was actually about 12.8 a game. SDSU scored a couple touchdowns. North Dakota State, they are #1 in the country, a little over 11 points per game. Do you see anything differently offensively for SDSU compared to last
I think they should be concerned with that, with the fact that, yeah, another good defense coming in, NDSU, fast. I don't know what how frequently they're creating turnovers. I don't think it's to the degree of Northern Iowa, but still a good front seven at NDSU that, again, is probably going to shut down that SDSU running game. Seems like another game where Sumner's going to have to throw 45 passes. What they should be concerned about is themselves only. We have, they have to better, controlling the ball. Again, all year long been an issue. I would like to see what SSU's capable of doing in a game where they have no turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, just picture that. You can't picture that in an entire game all season. It seems like every game.
Average 30 points a game.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see about that. I think if SSU just doesn't take too many risks, keeps the ball in their hands, maybe sustains a couple long drives, they have a chance. But NDSU is very good.
Playing off your point about their defense, if they can't run against the front seven, and NDSU has a terrific corner in Marcus Williams, and he basically cut the field in half last week against Missouri State because they did not throw the ball his way at all.
And Coulter Boyer on the defensive line for them is he's a disruptor of stuff too. He might give Sumner some issues as well.
So Sumner, I mean, if he's only working that back secondary passing every play or almost every play, and you're not going to want to throw towards Williams very often, he's going to be in a tall task. I mean, not to mention there's going to be a pass rush, like you said, coming. And, I mean, this is a really good NDSU defense, I would argue, maybe better than UNI's. And I think they're up against it. I don't see the Jacks, because they haven't defended the run really well at all, and DJ McNorton is as good a running back as there is in this conference. So I don't see anything good coming out of this. Now, the one point I can play here is that maybe the Jacks are able to get after Brock Jensen. I don't know if they can do that, but they'd have to stop the run first.
And North Dakota State typically doesn't play very well in Coughlin Alumni Stadium.
Good point.
I mean, it's that
99.
There is kind of a true home field advantage there. SSU conversely doesn't usually typically play very well in the Fargo Dome as well. Excluding that 08 win.
And in the 50-year history of Coughlin Alumni Stadium, Saturday's loss was loss 101. So they averaged 2 home losses a season.
Yeah, consistently good home team, yeah.
And they put those 2 losses behind them.
So you're telling me they're not going to lose at home the rest of the season?
I'm telling you they have a chance.
Sounds good to me. Well, in this game, it looks like North Dakota State's probably going to stifle the South Dakota State running game. I mean, that kind of seems to be a common theme this year. The good and bad thing about that is if you pass heavy in a game, you are capable of beating anybody, but you could also lose to anybody if you don't have things click quite right. So I'm going to say that if SDSU shoots themselves in the foot 2 or 3 times instead of 11 or 12 times like in the past, and just one so they can use the other one to still hobble around, then I think they'll have a chance.
Can they avoid the kneecap?
Yeah. Got to be below the knee and just one leg.
Yep.
I just kind of think if they can stop McNorton and make Brock Jensen, make their offense go through Brock Jensen behind center, I think they have a decent chance. I mean, that's tall order, though. I mean, we've seen how SSU's done with shifty, speedy guys, Shakir Bell, Shieldhouse, Illinois. I mean, just, people who, skilled running backs who can run the field have a lot of trouble.
And if we think back to last year's game at Fargo, 4 interceptions, 2 ran back to the house, the start of the pick 6 poison that they're in right
pick 6
now.
Poison.
And McNorton was able to run pretty much at will against the Jacks defense. So that will be the key. I think we've kind of settled on it, that if the Jacks can establish any running game, and if they can stop McNorton at all, I put that in the Collegian as a key to the game.
You think so?
Ooh.
That's good.
That's
good.
Something else that could help, home field, Coughlin alumni, 50 years, all these past players there. Maybe, the crowd will be a little bit more antsy. They'll be a little bit more fired up to play. I mean, they'll be fired up to play against North Dakota State regardless. Maybe they'll have a little extra.
The 65% of the fans that are from SDSU and the other 35 from. But, the march is on.
The march is on.
Oh, my God.
Something.
Oh, my God. It's so bad. Something that I want to continue to harp on is their lack of a running game for SDSU and how the Northern Iowa game was not out of control for the first 65% of that game. It was a one-score game, and SDSU led a good portion of that. And you look at the stats; they ran it back-to-back only 7 times, and they never ran it more than 3 times in a row.
I just think.
But then you look at the Youngstown State game the week before, and they won 35-28. They ran it 3 times in a row, 3 times. They ran it 4 times in a row once, and then there was one time they ran it 5 plays in a row.
I just kind of think these aren't your grandmammy's Jackrabbits. I think this year's team just seems, with the skill players they have at the wide receiver position, and with Summer showing an adeptness to take a lot of weight on his shoulders. I don't think the Jacks are going to be back to that wrecking ball kind of mentality with the running game this year. And maybe they should, but I don't think they will.
The stat I can't get off of is Zenner and Cool, when they don't combine for 100 yards, the team's 0-4.
And it shouldn't be that difficult
when they do,
to have 2 guys.
2-1.
It shouldn't be that difficult to have 2
That's
running backs.
50 yards apiece.
Yeah.
I think the correlation upon success and failure, though, it's turnovers. I would say, a running game's important. It's important to not be one-sided.
How are they turning the ball over?
Fumbles, interceptions, the whole bit.
They had one fumble.
That fumble on Saturday hurt as badly as
any of Summer's interceptions.
I'll argue that.
No.
You can't give them the ball on the 19-yard line and expect to get away without.
Well, there was the Southern Utah game where they got away with some.
They did get away with that fumble.
2 or 3 times where they settled for field goals. Southern Utah did. But that one at the end of the half, that interception was a backbreaker. And if you're throwing pick sixes every game, 3-4 interceptions, run the ball a little bit. Not just SDSU, but in general. If there's a 2nd and 5 and you gain 5 yards on that first play, run the ball again. Get 5 yards those next 2 plays if you can, please, and don't put it up 40 times.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like running the ball, but, when you're running into a brick wall and getting 1.5 yards each time, you don't want to punt when it's 3rd and 7 then, or 3rd and 4 after pounding it 3 times. You still need to pick up yards and work on the down and distance and put yourself in positive opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's the thing they're struggling with.
Tough to get.
A lot of times when they run it, they're throwing a 3-yard pass on 1st down and on 2nd and 7, running it up the middle for a half-yard gain, and then they still have 3rd and reasonably long.
There's talk with coaches about getting back to Jackrabbit football, and I think the question becomes, what is Jackrabbit football? And I believe what he means by that answer is, execution, physical type play, and that's kind of what the running game sort of encapsulates. I don't think. I think SSU isn't necessarily abandoning that type of play altogether. I don't think they're getting back to your roots is going to happen against an NDSU team that, frankly, shuts offenses down. Regardless.
You mentioned that it starts games are won and lost with turnovers. The Jacks have been awful with penalties this season. And I think if you're getting back to Jackrabbit football, this is usually a team that's disciplined.
Disciplined, yeah.
And earlier in the season, they had like 11 or 12 penalties in one game. They hadn't had that many since 09 or 08. I mean, you can't make those mistakes and expect to get away with it either. I think if you're going to get back to whatever Jackrabbit football is, it starts with defense and then some sort of discipline.
Yeah. And I mean, I think they can get back to Jackrabbit football, quote unquote. It's not looking like it's going to happen this year. If to you Jackrabbit football is pounding the ball, I think they can do that in the future. I don't think that's going to be where they're going to make their money this year offensively.
I think you're right.
Another stat I want to bring up, even though the game was out of hand in that 4th quarter, they ended the game with 18 passes in a row. And we saw at Indiana State, even though that game was out of hand as well, they did try to run the ball to get a 1st down at the end, which I didn't really like when you're that far behind. But, they passed it nearly 20 times in a row to to end the game.
Well, I say, if you're gonna run and gun,
do it.
why not? Yeah, why not go no huddle? Why not try to throw NDSU off in any way that you possibly can? That could just be an option to consider. I don't know if, man, the Jacks do no huddle very often.
Yeah, they did it. They did it Saturday.
I seem to remember
kind of that second quarter, and then they'd get up there, they'd look to the sideline for a play. So they've done it. I think they're going to have to vary the speeds, the tempo, because SDSU needs any type of advantage they can get on Saturday. So
I agree.
You got to keep NDSU off balance, play with their mind as much as you play them physically.
I'll say this: if they go, 3 or 4 receivers, we'll just say if they go, 3 receivers, a tight end, and a running back, going no huddle, throwing it around, but also running draws and screens and bubble screens and mix it in there, keep them off balance, then I think there's a good chance they can, and as long as, they don't get penalties and turn the ball over.
There's the game plan right there from the offensive coordinator of the Jackrabbit football team.
Nice.
Trust me. I mean, some people say their offense isn't great now. If I was the offensive coordinator, it'd be much worse.
They'd be running the option, wouldn't they be? Or wouldn't they?
I don't know what we'd be doing. Honestly, our scheme would probably change every single week, probably multiple times during the week.
We're in the wing tee in a week.
I was on record saying they would win this game a couple weeks ago. Yep. I will stick with that. They win 31-28. Nobody storms the field.
Oh.
And if you win, free trip to the Bahamas.
Free trip to Missouri State next week for South Dakota State. Coming up next, we'll preview the rest of the football weekend coming up on the Sports Lounge. College football and NFL, pretty bare bones this weekend, so I'll go to each of you. Bare bones. I'll go to each of you. Give me a game that you were interested in.
I kind of like Kansas City, Oakland. I think I like that Carson Palmer, coming in from the, from mowing his lawn and putting on a helmet and see what happens there. And I'm just kind of intrigued by Oakland right now with kind of what they're going through. Seems like they're motivated, from the Al Davis thing. Although, boy, it seems like Al Davis is still alive with that move, doesn't it?
Gave up a bit much.
Is there more Al Davisian move than what happened to Carson Palmer?
I'm not convinced that he didn't have that somewhere. That was in the will.
So I'm kind of intrigued by that Chiefs-Raiders matchup, kind of to see what Palmer does and so forth.
My NFL game of the week is 3-3 Atlanta at 5-1 Detroit, because you have a team in Detroit that is trying to move up into that upper echelon of the NFC, and you have a team in Atlanta trying to stay in that upper echelon of the NFC.
What is an echelon?
It is like a tier. It's
I believe it's old
Greek
warrior shit.
I think I have a couple echelons in my den.
Your denim?
My denim. Don't touch me, please.
Like it's been said, it's kind of slim pickings. I guess I would have to either go with Houston, Tennessee, or Tampa Bay, Chicago.
There we go.
I mean, I don't think
London.
I don't think either of them are great, but I think they're solid games that should be entertaining.
How do you not go with Minnesota, Green Bay?
I was waiting for somebody to mention it.
Yeah, where's the Vikings fans? Come on.
Ponder's first start. Rodgers, best quarterback, going to be the MVP in the league.
Calvin Johnson, if he stays hot.
That crowd's going to be very excited because McNabb, please. So that'll be very exciting to see for me.
I'll be honest. It's an undefeated team, the only undefeated team left against a 1-win team. I can't say that. I'm that. But I'm not a Vikings fan. Obviously, if you're a Vikings fan, I understand that you want to see the new quarterback and see how he plays.
It's not the game of the week for me, but the Vikings game is always the game of the week for me. So I'm going to watch anyway, so I can't make it my game of the week.
And really, the sheer theater of the Vikings, really.
It's
never low on theater and histrionics and
that's why they're moving to Hollywood.
Probably right. See. We got it down there.
I'll be on that first train out of Minneapolis. Boom. Heading to the sunny beaches.
You guys stay Vikings fans if they move?
I do. He was not. I do.
I won't.
What happens?
I'm a Dolphins fan, so if the Dolphins move, I'll still be a Dolphins fan. I really don't care where they are located.
Widowed?
Right now,
widowed Vikings fan.
Right now, what I'm saying I'm going to do is I'm going to take another local team, not name the Packers. So I'll take
Detroit.
Kansas City,
bandwagon's looking pretty
Detroit,
hot. Omaha,
Denver.
UFL?
They're shutting down.
The lingerie league.
No. Anyway,
Mark Rippion's daughter's there.
Wow.
She's got to have some talent.
Heard she's got a big arm, a real big arm.
I will take another Midwestern team as my own.
So you're going to take Ohio, whatever team's in Ohio.
No,
the
they're
Midwest.
not in the Midwest.
Okay.
They were in the Midwest in 1844.
Kansas City Chefs.
The Kansas City Chefs.
Great googly moogly.
Snickers.
Yep, thank you.
Do we have
one of the all-time bests?
Do we have a college game of the week? I'll go with Nebraska, Minnesota, just for the pure bloodbath.
27.5-point favorites.
I will take Nebraska, and I'll take Nebraska minus the points.
The Gophers have
agree.
2 healthy running backs for that game.
The down week, is this like, it seems like this should be the Army-Navy week. Is it the Army-Navy?
That's saved for that last week after the conference championships.
Okay.
And I never watched that game.
I never did.
I
Or the Grambling State Southern game.
I actually watched
I never
that.
watched that. I'll be honest.
I like the
Army Navy.
helmets.
Army Navy's something I'll
NBC's
turn it to
production
because
is
I
great.
feel like I should watch it.
colors.
And then after 8 minutes of watching it, usually Navy's up 4 touchdowns, and I say, well, that's enough of that.
And now they wear just obscure jerseys for that game. So I watched about 3 minutes until my eyes
I don't know how
hurt.
Army doesn't win. They're camouflaged when they play.
Stupid.
That's true.
I have 2 college games of the week, one for each night. Friday night, Syracuse hosts West Virginia. Upset alert. Put the Mountaineers on upset alert. And then Washington at Stanford. We'll find out if Washington's for real.
Nope.
They're not for real. So Stanford will rock them.
I think offensively, Washington could put up some points, but I think Stanford will put up many, many more.
I think
you're right.
I think Washington's on the up and up,
Not this year.
but I don't think they'll get lucky
The
enough.
state or the
on
football
Saturday.
team?
Football team.
Mine, I will take Michigan State against Wisconsin. We'll see how Wisconsin plays against the best defense they've played this year. Wisconsin really hasn't played any team that's been good defensively yet.
USD, no?
No, I wouldn't put USD in the good defensively category. As much as that hurts the
Minority.
Vermilion population that watches
Did the
this
Badgers
show.
create a billboard having friends over for dinner? I mean, Badgers Coyotes. They're kind of seems like they're in the sort of the same sort of
Spartans-
phylum of
Spartans kill everybody, so it doesn't.
true.
It's true.
Badgers Coyotes. Either
We'll see
way,
if
either way they get shot by South Dakotans.
We'll see if Jarrell Worthy gets a tattoo stepping on a Wisconsin Badgers neck.
Conversely, Jackrabbits get driven over by cars. So
Stay out of the street.
Look both ways.
Just like
Hold hands.
Just like if you're a cameraman.
That's
real?
Both ways.
Hi-oh.
Hey-o.
I'm gonna go to the tapes now.
Yeah. Carolina at Clemson. Clemson rolls. Looking at something that happened a few days ago. Bryant Gumble made his little commentary on Real Sports about the NBA lockout. David Stern, the owners, the players, and we'll take a look at that next and react.
Finally tonight, if the NBA lockout is going to be resolved anytime soon, it seems likely to be done in spite of David Stern, not because of him. I say that because the NBA's infamously egocentric commissioner seems more hell-bent lately on demeaning the players than resolving his game's labor impasse. How else to explain Stern's rants in recent days? To any and everyone who'd listen, he has alternately knocked union leader Billy Hunter, said the players were getting inaccurate information, and started sounding Chicken Little claims about what games might be lost if players didn't soon see things his way. Stern's version of what's been going on behind closed doors has, of course, been disputed, but his efforts were typical of a commissioner who has always seemed eager to be viewed as some kind of modern plantation overseer, treating NBA men as if they were his boys. It's part of Stern's MO. Like his past self-serving edicts on dress code or the questioning of officials, his moves are intended to do little more than show how he's the one keeping the hired hands in their place. Some will, of course, cringe at that characterization, but Stern's disdain for the players is as palpable and pathetic as his motives are transparent. Yes, the NBA's business model is broken, but to fix it, maybe the league's commissioner should concern himself most with the solution and stop being part of the problem. And that's our show for this evening. For all the good folks here at Real Sports.
So that little diatribe there by Sir Gumble, insinuating slavery and plantations and the whole gamut there with this NBA lockout.
Well, my initial reaction is dun 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 boo.
Okay.
But you know, Bryant Gumble's a smart guy, and Real Sports is a great show. I mean,
has no books.
Intelligent, and I don't think he brings up a totally insubstantial argument. I'll just say that I don't agree with most of it, but I at the same time I don't entirely disagree.
There is some validity.
There's some elements.
Somewhere.
I think so. Yeah.
I'll put it this way: I've seen things like this where we have this broadcast on TV and on YouTube, so I will just say I disagree and wash my hands clean of the rest of this topic.
Yeah, I would say if we've learned anything in the last couple of weeks, there's topics you stay away from.
Is religion one of them?
Religion is one of them.
Yeah, probably. What was it? Politics?
Probably a former
Somebody should write a column about
that. Dictator, you'd stay away from him.
Bocce ball?
And you stay away from slavery comments.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, Bryant Gumble was smart enough to make this point without working in the plantation owner remark.
I agree.
And I think, I don't know what his motives are. Is he trying to get back at David Stern? Is he mad at his brother because his brother is cooler than him? There's a lot of stuff at play.
Maybe he just had a bad day. I don't know.
My brother's cooler than me.
Is it because Greg still has a job calling football games?
I love Gumble and Gumble.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe he's still upset they canceled Gumble to Gumble.
What's plural? What's the plural of Gumble?
Gumbies.
Gumby.
Gumbies. Who is your favorite Gumble?
Bryant, because of the way he talks. Chicago.
That is funny. Greg, because I don't have HBO.
For the most part, I don't have any problems with either of them. I guess I'll go with Bryant because he seems a little smoother generally. I don't know though. I don't have a strong opinion either way.
We talked about how don't reference the maybe it's too soon to make fun of Kennedy getting assassinated.
That's right.
9/11.
If we've brought that up, then
9/11's off limits. Lincoln, it's okay to make fun of him getting shot in the head 150 years ago.
I need to be on the show like I need a hole in the head.
Yep. But slavery is that one topic where we can be 2,000 years from now. No, that ain't going to be good ever.
It's a no-go.
I agree.
And I just think we're removed from it quite a ways, but people are.
But then again, we're not.
People will always be connected to that. So
there was slavery, and then there's the repercussions that were felt.
So I think it's best to just leave it alone. Don't touch it.
Like poison ivy.
Yep, like pick 6 poison.
Pick 6 poison.
Absolutely.
Future headline.
Ending on this final cheery note here, apparently a gentleman who was intoxicated, obviously we don't advocate drinking and driving, so he had his 9-year-old daughter drive him home.
This is surveillance video from a Detroit area gas station. Everything looks normal, that is, until the driver's side door of the minivan opens. And out steps this young girl. Inside, the passenger says she's his daughter and, quote, designated driver.
9 years old. 9. Dad, break, listen, we're leaving, and she's driving.
The man goes on to buy his daughter a snack, the whole time bragging about his, quote, chauffeur.
She drives us here, I swear to you. 9 years old, in the truck, we're parked right there. She drove all the way here.
Soon after the two leave the gas station just before 3 a.m., 911 dispatchers receive this call from someone driving behind the van.
Is the vehicle staying on the road?
She's driving pretty good. I'm telling you, I can't believe it.
When police pulled the van over, they say the girl was sitting behind the wheel in a child's booster seat. She asked why they were being stopped, saying, quote, I was driving good. The father refused a breathalyzer test. He was charged with 2nd and 4th degree child abuse 2 days later. Nicole Grether, The Associated Press.
So you saw the video there of the girl. She was doing a good job. Granted, she was keeping in between the lines. I don't see had the booster seat to see the road.
We don't advocate much on this show. And we don't advocate 9-year-old girls driving cars.
This is what I'll say. I'm not going to condone any of this.
And then he's going to wash his hands.
But in defense of that, I don't know. Do you know where this took place state-wise?
It said in the video. I think it's
Alabama.
No, it was.
Because I was going to say, if it was the Midwest, it was a farming community, and this girl's been helping the family plant stuff and drive combines. Still not good, but I think you get a little, well, I can see why you did it. It was still a horrible mistake.
It was.
But at least, you know, she maybe has some driving experience.
Seems to me
But still
a
bad.
front runner for idiot father of the year, I would say, in the running
We'll
for it.
put them on the list, and then
Two.
in December we'll narrow it down to the 5, and then we'll pick a winner.
Either way, no matter how you dice this up, it's bad. Okay,
Doesn't
well,
matter what you dice it up with.
do you drive drunk with your 9-year-old daughter in the car? Oh, yeah, is that good? No. Do you
let her
let your
drive.
9-year-old daughter drive the car while you sit drunk? Is that a good idea? No.
But better than the first one.
No.
I think
It's
it is.
like,
Well, I
It's-
think
there's not.
It's
There is no
not-
better here.
There's no winning in that
Yeah.
situation. Charlie Sheen, there's no winning.
not winning.
Charlie Sheen,
why
there's no
doesn't
winning.
anyone ever take a cab? I've never understood that. I mean, I've never had a DUI, but I would imagine that getting a parking ticket and possibly, you know, and say, oh, you were parked here overnight. That's a $30 ticket. Is probably better in the long run than getting a DUI.
I've taken some walks home from downtown.
I've done that before where I've parked downtown and then didn't plan on drinking, ended up drinking and said, well, I guess I'm going to risk if I get a ticket or not because I'm not going to get in my car and drive home now.
Easiest $20 ticket I've ever got.
Good. And then a trivia question.
You cheater.
No, I have no idea what's
Yeah,
coming.
it's very small print.
Okay.
Let me just preface this
I
by
saw
saying,
the answers were in blue. I'm going to use that to my advantage.
let me just preface this by saying Twins fan, orange shirt Twins fan, blue shirt White Sox fan. Preface that, okay?
Okay.
There were 35 players that played in a game this season for the Minnesota Twins. Who are those 35 players?
Renee Tassoni.
All the people to start with. Yes.
I believe Joe Mauer did play a game this season.
A few.
He played in 82.
All right. I'll go with Justin Morneau.
Yep.
It's crazy to think that if Mauer had played every game, he would have hit like 6 home runs. Shiyoshi Nishioka. This is going to go a while, maybe.
Alexi Casilla.
Sure.
I'll go with Michael Kadire.
Michael Kadire.
Matt Tolbert.
Talbot.
Dinkelman.
Dinkelman. Yes.
If my buddy Josh Kelly's watching, in reference to him, I will say Jason Kubel.
Very nice.
Scott Diamond.
Diamond in the rough.
Certainly.
Not so much.
Danny Valencia.
Valencia, a
Wait.
team high 154.
Wow.
Double pay for him.
And take it away for his field.
I'm kind of struggling right now, so just for fun, even though I know this will get me off, I'm going to say head first, slide into first, Nick Punto.
Nicky Punto, future World Series winner.
If only.
Oh.
Denard Span.
The nerd. Yes. 70 games.
Delman Young.
Delman Young, 84.
It's amazing what happened to Delman Young when he went
Amazing.
into
He
the
had as many
playoffs.
home runs in like 4 days
Yep.
as he hit the entire season.
First at bat.
For the Twins.
Ben
He's an
Revere.
interesting player.
Ben Revere. Yep.
Joe Benson.
Benson. Booyah. 21.
Chris Parmalee.
Parmalee, 21 as well.
Joe Nathan.
Nathan, Joe,
Scott Baker.
Baker.
Nick Blackburn.
Carl Pavano.
Let's see. Wrist tattoo guy, Anthony Swarzak.
We would have accepted wrist tattoo guy.
Instead of neck tattoo, John Roush.
Francisco Liriano.
Yes.
We're getting deep in there. Oh, Matt Capps.
Boy, is that a hell of a comment you just made.
Kevin Slowey.
What did you?
Matt Capps.
Yep.
Glenn Perkins.
That Matt Caps thing just kind of that was not a huge deal once they lose 99.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who did you have?
Glenn Perkins.
Did I say Alex Burnett?
No.
Didn't.
I got the next one.
You're really good.
Oh, man.
Well,
There's one guy on here that I've never heard of.
I'll just go with the one that I've been saving, Steve Holm.
I was going to say Steve Holm.
6 games. He played in
I've been
6
saving
games.
that
It's too bad that Drew Butera hasn't been said yet.
Yeah, I was just going to go with
Played
him.
93. 11 more than
93
Joe Mauer.
games. 93.
Check the change in your pocket. It'll be about the same as his batting average during the season.
I think I'm coming to the end here. Yeah, I can't think of any. There's a catcher out there that I can't think of.
Drew will win this.
Yeah.
You're out?
I'm out.
Drew Almond, another win. Do you have any more?
Alexei
Said.
Somebody said that?
I said it.
Said.
All right. Still alive
He's a
then,
future
huh?
Hall of Famer on this list.
Oh. You give it away. Tell me.
Yeah.
Jim Thome. I'll take that one. I'll take that
Son
one.
of a
Thank you.
gun. All right. Well, Marcus gets the free one.
Brian Dunsing, Rene Rivera.
I was going to keep going, but.
Rene Rivera was the catcher I was thinking of then.
Yeah.
Who else?
Keep going.
Well, you said.
I said two of them. It's
is
over.
this over? Okay, it is over.
You won. I said it, there's two of them. There's many other obscure names left.
How did nobody say Jim Thome?
Did Glenn Perkins get said
Yes,
yet?
yeah.
That's what I thought. There's somebody that played in exactly half of the games. And he will start next season, I believe. And has some potential.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, Plouffe.
Plouffe. I'm going to go down the gamut here.
Sure.
Mijares. Jose Mijares. Repco. Luke Hughes. Jim Hoy. Dusty Hughes. Phil Dumatre. Lester Olivos. Chuck James.
Yeah.
Kyle Waldrop. Liam Hendricks. Anthony Slama. 2 games. Jeff Manship and Eric Hacker.
Sounds like
2011
sounds like winners.
Player and not a pitcher.
I think he's a pitcher, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a pitcher.
Well, that really sucks. I was hoping he'd be a batter because you want a batter with the name Hacker as his last name.
Chuck James.
Boy, well, just going through that list, it just seems like
it's a wonder they won 63.
All I hear when I think of Chuck James is Kevin James. And that's not good for Chuck James.
Zookeeper too, Zookeeper.
Yep.
3 guys played over 100 games. Valencia led the way with 154. Kadir had 139. Ben Revere had 117.
Good for them.
Good for them. They should get a pay raise.
And Kubel had 99.
Well, Kadir can have the pay raise when he leaves the team.
He can go to Boston and get his pay raise.
He's going to get paid, and then not by the Twins.
He's going to fall off the map.
I'm afraid.
You're afraid. Don't be afraid to tune us in next week when we have a new. We're going to unveil a new permanent member of the Sports Lounge. So don't miss that coming up next week, right here again in the Sports Lounge.
Price is wrong, Bobby.
Gillian, thank you very much indeed. The rapper Snoop Dogg has gone to some extraordinary lengths to broaden his fan base by personally appealing to a Welsh farmer to come to his concert. The man in question, Ian Neal, caught Snoop's eye, and he broke the record for growing the world's biggest Swede. Keen to learn his skills, Snoop sent him a special invitation.
What up, though? Shout out to my homeboy Ian Neal in Cardiff for breaking the world's records for the biggest vegetable Man, I want to tell you something, man. When I do my show in Cardiff, I want you to come backstage and see me, because I do vegetation myself, and I want to know your secret so I can show you my vegetables and see if you can grow that into a real big vegetable. So Ian Neal from Cardiff, come see your boy Snoop Dogg. I got 2 tickets for you when I get to town. You dig?
Respect. Let's cross live to Peterborough, where Ian has joined Lisa Dowd. And what exactly are they going to be growing there in Peterborough?
Well, he's not growing anything. He's showing us his very large vegetables. Ian's with me now with the record-breaking Swede, which is here, isn't it, Ian?
That's the record-breaking Swede, which was in Somerset 6 weeks ago.
How heavy is that?
38.92 kilos.
About 6 stone?
About 6 stone.
Yeah, and you've got one next to it as well. That looks pretty big as well. That's yours, isn't it?
That's mine. It's a fresh one for this show. I didn't know what the competition was going to be like, so I brought the record one in and I brought a fresh one in.
So Snoop heard about your talent,
yes,
didn't he?
Yes.
And he kind of got in touch over YouTube. What did you think when you heard that message?
Bit strange, but it's not my type of scene, so I did turn the tickets down. But in the end, we went to the booking office and managed to get them back, and I got my VIP pass with me to show my friends.
And you met him last night?
Met him last night, and I had a smoke with him. I don't smoke, but he offered me one, so I took one.
I'm hoping that's just tobacco.
No, it wasn't.
Well, we won't go any further with that, but he's interested in cultivation himself, isn't he?
He is.
Mr. Dog.
Yeah.
So was he interested in getting your tips?
We give him some tips, yes.
What did you tell him?
Well, there is a chemical on the market which is root growth, which is natural, and it encourages a better root system.
Well, let's take a walk over as we're going, because you've got some rather large celery to show as well, haven't you?
I didn't wash him very good because he's only for exhibit only.
But he's pretty heavy.
He is pretty heavy.
Yeah. So how long did you have with Snoop?
10 minutes. There was 4 of us all together in my party, and we had 10 minutes with him, yes.
And what else did you chat about?
Well, not a lot, really. He was just interested in how we grew the stuff and how we could improve his. We give him the website number of a friend, and we left it at that.
And what did you think of his music? Because you're a country and western fan, aren't you?
Not a lot. I wouldn't pay to go and see him, but if the tickets come again, yes, it was an experience. In fact, I'm still deaf.
And hopefully you're hoping this might be, at some point, a record breaker or not?
No, because I didn't wash him good enough. A lot of dirt on the roots.
Oh,
We just bought it here for exhibit only.
OK, well, he's pretty large anyway.
He
So
is.
thanks very much for joining us,
Thank you.
Ian. Back to you.
I think... Should we just move on?
I want to see, because I'm sure Snoop is wearing a Welsh rugby shirt in that
see
picture.
that?
Let's just have a look again. Yes, he is. In honour of a little smoke amongst friends. Splendid stuff. And I wonder what the root grow will do for his vegetables.
Yes, quite. I like the fact he said I wouldn't pay to go and
No,
see him.
I know. Yeah, indeed. Splendid stuff. Still wearing the same shirt this morning from last night. And who can blame him? Anyway, thank you for that eclectic mix. Now, many artists...